But Carlos, let's go ahead and get into this AFC North. It's a super competitive division. It always feels like that it doesn't matter who it is, whether it be the Kings like the Baltimore Ravens or the people who are, pretty crappy year in and year out, which is the Cleveland Browns. They always compete
What?
very well against no way.
What?
But they compete very well against each other. Let's get just right into it. I want to start with the Baltimore Ravens. They are the kings of the North there. I mean, they have Lamar Jackson, and then they added Derrick Henry in the backfield last year. They did bring in DeAndre Hopkins, at wide receiver. I think he's just kind of making his last run. But let's talk about this. You want to talk about secondary. They have figured it out. Their secondary is unreal on paper, and they produce. I mean, absolutely unreal. They go out, they get Malachi Starks from in the draft this past year. Then they just get oh my God, his name just
Jair Alexander.
Jair Alexander from the Green Bay Packers. They already have Hamilton. This secondary is absolutely unreal, and their offense can produce easy 28 to 35 points a game. I mean, easily. Yeah. They're very productive with Lamar Jackson. So this is going to be a very hard team to beat again in the AFC North. And how do you feel about them?
I think they're good. The only thing I question a teeny bit is their front four. But that back end is so good with Marlon, like you said, Marlon Humphrey, Jair Starks. The rookie should be he's a Baltimore Raven. He can play the pass. He comes up, plays the run. He plays like a Raven. He'll do it. And then Kyle Hamilton's a beast as well. They got Roquan Smith, great linebacker. I just worry about the front four a little bit, and if they're going to be able to put enough pressure, as good as any secondary in is, without some pressure from the front four, it's going to be it can be a little bit difficult, especially with the great receivers they're going to see throughout the year. But it's a scary team.
It is a scary team.
Very, very scary.
Let's not forget, if it wasn't for one very painful drop by Mark Andrews, who is a consistent, as much as people wanted to come at him, come on, man. The guy is one of the best tight ends in the league. He's always been very consistent. It was unprecedented what we saw him drop that catch there. So, who knows what could have happened, because I think that the Baltimore Ravens were out for blood last playoff run because they lost in the AFC Championship game against the Chiefs 2 years ago. So I really think that they were very hungry. And Lamar Jackson said it on his draft day. What are the Baltimore Ravens going to get from you? They're going to get a Super Bowl from me. I know that you've come out and you've been very public on you don't think Lamar Jackson is going to be a Super Bowl winning quarterback. I don't know, man. They're building this team very well, and I'm very excited to see what they do. They were 13-4 last year, and I truly don't see them doing anything less than that this year. Maybe a 12-5.
Yeah, I don't get me wrong. I think Lamar's great. He keeps getting better every year. His passing game has gotten better. His legs are always going to be his legs, and he's gotten better. I think the Derrick Henry signing made that possible for him. And I think Hopkins isn't I don't know what we get out of Hopkins anymore. Like, when he went to Kansas City, we were like, this guy's going to – go pick him up on fantasy. You do, all this good stuff.
Yeah.
He didn't do anything. So that's the only thing is he doesn't – Zay Flowers, can he stay healthy? Rashad Bateman, they drafted number 1 out of Minnesota, never really panned out to be that guy, but he has his flashes. And but they do have 2 good tight ends. I'm a huge fan of Isaiah Likely, and then Mark Andrews always been sure-handed.
Me too.
The one time they needed it. O-line's pretty decent. And Derrick Henry, as long as – I will say they were a team that stayed pretty healthy throughout last year. So
yes,
Battle Nutrition did help out quite a bit. Let's see if Lamar has to keep playing. I felt like he got robbed of the MVP last year. I thought he was the MVP. Josh Allen gets it, but I thought he was clear cut. But he's got to play at that such high level, and the defense is going to have to I don't know. I'm still suspect of Lamar Jackson be able to take a team to the Super Bowl. It's different going 13-4. You're going to have teams that you beat up on. It's, but it's just different when you're in the playoffs. Like, it's playoff atmosphere. The pressure's there. The other team on the other side is really good, and they're good for a reason. So the scouting, everything's going to be on point. So we'll see. I'm not a anti-Baltimore Ravens Lamar Jackson. He, almost won me a fantasy football league last year. So I don't hate him, but there's just something. But the guy keeps getting better, so I wouldn't hurt my feelings if he proves me wrong. If the Dolphins aren't in the Super Bowl, which is probably not going to happen.
Probably not. We'll get to the AFC East next week.
I appreciate your optimism there for me.
Yeah, probably. No worries, buddy. I'm always here for a good.
Thanks a lot.
I'm always here for good support. They also, they did re-sign Ronnie Stanley, who is a very the guy's a beast on for an offensive tackle. Definitely want to keep Lamar Jackson upright, although it's almost impossible to sack him. It seems like the guy's an escape artist in itself.
I will say one guy, if he gets hurt, I feel their offense is done. And weirdly to say,
Lamar Jackson.
No, well, yes, that. But he stays healthy. He's actually a pretty strong guy, and he's pretty smart when he runs. Mm-hmm. I feel if Derrick Henry goes down, that season's done. They don't have anything in the back behind him that I think is playable.
But that's another guy who is consistent and healthy. So,
he is, but at some point. But then I just watched training video of him running up those freaking hills, doing all kinds of stuff. I'm like, what the heck, man? That's not a human being. But anything can happen, and they need to stay healthy to make that big run. Any team does, but I feel like if something were to happen to him, they're in for a long season. It's going to put a ton of pressure back on Lamar, like we saw 3 years ago, and he's just running everywhere for his life, taking hits. Like I feel like a domino effect if he goes down. So hope King Henry stays up and keeps defying the age of the running back curse, I guess, in a way. Like, as they get older, they decline after 30. Nobody told him. So if somebody accidentally told him that, hey, you're over 30.
Nobody told Derrick Henry. The amount of miles and yards that guy has on his body is absolutely unreal. So, but I like the Baltimore Ravens. I think that they're going to take the North again. It's one of those things, man. The other teams, there's the 3 other teams, there's a what if in certain areas. There's a big what if in Cleveland for the entire team, basically. But every other team, though, is like, okay, well, is like Pittsburgh. What if Aaron Rodgers? Like, how's that going to work? And the Cincinnati Bengals. Well, they don't have Trey Hendrickson. That's still an absolute mess, it seems like. Their defense is abysmal. They didn't even go out and draft anybody.